Obviously, the guy's confidence is just on another level. We are talking about arguably the best basketball player to ever walk the earth. So he kept it real simple with me. He just said, be you. It reminds me of that iconic line of his, don't fit in. Don't fit in. LeBron James just dropped a bomb on Luka Doncic that nobody saw coming. And with the internet still blazing from the Bronny fence, drama. This quiet exchange feels heavy. This isn't just trash talk or empty praise. It sounds like a coded message, and fans are convinced it explains the trade that broke the NBA. But before we break down the madness, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive updates. Let's rewind the tape to the night of February 1st, 2025. The basketball world was fast asleep. No rumors, no leaks, zero warning. Then, out of nowhere, like a lightning bolt striking a clear blue sky, the impossible happened. The Dallas Mavericks pulled the trigger on one of the most shocking transactions in the history of the National Basketball Association, shipping Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff F. Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers in a massive 3-team blockbuster that also roped in the Utah Jazz. Heading back to Dallas were Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. The Jazz walked away with Jalen Hood-Schifino and a couple of second-round selections. Just like that, the entire basketball landscape was rewritten overnight. Now, really think about this. Luka Doncic was 25 years old when this went down. 25. A perennial MVP contender who had just dragged the Dallas Mavericks all the way to the NBA Finals the season before. This is the definition of an untouchable player. You do not trade a guy like that. It's an unwritten rule. Yet, reports suggest Mavericks GM Nico Harrison cooked up this deal in the shadows with Lakers executive Rob Pelinka without ever shopping Doncic to the rest of the league. No bidding war, no leverage plays, absolutely nothing. Just a late-night phone call and a handshake that will go down as one of the most controversial moves in modern sports history. So, what was Dallas thinking? Well, they claimed it was about conditioning. They preached defense. They pointed to concerns over Doncic's weight, which had reportedly climbed to around 270 pounds, along with nagging calf injuries and his hesitation to follow team fitness programs. Nico Harrison went on record emphasizing that defense wins championships, trying to sell the narrative that Anthony Davis was the superior two-way anchor they needed to pair with Kyrie Irving. But here is the thing that everybody was screaming at the time. Critics, analysts, fans, and even other pros, they all called bluff on these excuses. They said it sounded like damage control, because when you possess a 25-year-old generational offensive engine, you do not swap him for a 31-year-old big man with a laundry list of injuries. The math simply does not add up. And the reaction? Oh, the reaction was absolute chaos. Players across the association described the trade as blasphemy, labeling it the dumbest idea ever and the worst decision in modern history. Stars like Anthony Edwards and several Knicks players publicly voiced their shock. Anonymous player polls revealed widespread confusion over why Dallas would ship off a 25-year-old superstar for that return package. Mavericks fans were rioting at the American Airlines Center, chanting "Fire Nico," while security ejected people for holding anti-Harrison signs. Things got dark, with reports of death threats directed at the GM, which is obviously crossing the line, no matter how bad the trade looks on paper. As for Luka, he was completely blindsided. He found out he was traded via social media, which is easily one of the most disrespectful ways to learn you've been shipped out of town. He later described the slander coming from the Dallas front office as painful, but he took the high road publicly. However, he reportedly hasn't spoken to Nico Harrison since the deal went down. Sources suggest he's still bitter about losing out on massive endorsement money and contract extensions tied to the Texas market cash that could have totaled over $100 million. Hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more NBA content. Here's the twist though. LeBron James was reportedly just as stunned. He had no prior knowledge or hand in orchestrating this. Sources from ESPN described LeBron as being in total disbelief for days after the news broke. Neither he nor Anthony Davis was consulted. LeBron even admitted that in his 22-year career, he had never witnessed a transaction quite like this. That brings us back to Luka's words. Obviously, he has so much confidence. Best ever. That was Luka reflecting on the first thing LeBron told him. Be you. And then that legendary callback. Don't fit in. Don't fit in. That was Luka breaking down the very first advice LeBron gave him upon arriving in Los Angeles. Be you. Don't fit in. That simple message reveals exactly where LeBron's head was at. He wasn't the GM behind the curtain. He wasn't pulling strings. He was just a stunned participant who, once the dust settled, welcomed a new king to LA. Once the initial stunner faded, he pivoted to making the absolute most of it, rolling out the red carpet for his new running mate. But before ink put to paper, there were whispers of a different blockbuster involving the Boston Celtics. Los Angeles actually tested the waters on shipping Anthony Davis to Beantown, initiating contact with Brad Stevens in the front office. Stevens played it cool, non-committal, yet intrigued, echoing their heavy pursuit of Davis back in his 2019 Pelicans exit. However, those conversations hit a dead end. The Celtics hesitated to go all in, and the focus dramatically swiveled elsewhere. The spotlight turned to Dallas and Luka Doncic. Let's be clear. Sources confirm Luka was never on Boston's radar. There isn't a shred of credible reporting suggesting the Slovenian star was ever headed to the TD Garden. Even with the Celtics rumors busting, the actual trade was an absolute earthshaker. Before we dive into the fallout, make sure to smash that like button, because everything following that day, every locker room spat, every headline, every bit of drama stems from this single atomic event. Luka arrives, and the foundation begins to tremble. Luka Doncic is officially a Los Angeles Laker. Just sit with that reality. The Slovenian phenom who grew up worshiping the game from the sidelines of EuroLeague courts, the kid who binged High School Musical a dozen times just for the basketball montages, that same kid is now draped in purple and gold, sharing the backcourt with King James. In the beginning, it was pure magic. Imagine the electric current in the air walking into that arena, feeling the weight of history shifting. You look around and see number 77 jerseys flooding the stands. But what was it like stepping onto the hardwood? Finally playing real minutes? Throwing lobs to LeBron James? How do you even process that emotional overload? It was special, the reception I got. Honestly, it was amazing to see because I was actually nervous. Haven't felt that way in years. Luka called his debut in LA Threads one of the most surreal moments of his entire life. The franchise went all out, draping his number 77 jersey over every single seat in the building. The fans erupted with a standing ovation that rattled the floorboards. And LeBron, he showed pure class. James texted Luka that morning, offering him the final introduction spot, the anchor position usually reserved for the franchise icon. Yeah, he hit me up in the morning saying whatever you want. For him to do that? Just amazing. It really highlights the kind of human being he is. He stepped back to let me have my moment. I truly appreciate that. When asked to clarify if LeBron left it entirely up to him, Luka confirmed the open offer. Exactly, he texted whatever you want. So I asked him, just for today, let me take the spot. But from now on, you go last. And that right there, that is what mutual respect looks like between Titans. If you're loving this breakdown of NBA history, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives. LeBron was willing to yield the stage. And Luka, showing maturity, requested the honor for one night only. Once the ball tipped and the lights went down, the on-court synergy was instant and undeniable. It's great. I've never shared the floor with a talent like this. Coming to LA was a shock, sure, but playing alongside him, unbelievable. I could soak up so much knowledge from him. First off, the preparation off the court. And obviously, inside the lines, everyone knows he's a legend. Luka was floored by James's discipline. He arrived at the facility only to find LeBron had already been grinding for hours. The King had wrapped up a full sweat session before Luka even swiped his badge. Steve Nash broke it down perfectly. These two are mirror images in terms of basketball IQ. They are supercomputers in sneakers, processing the game at a speed mere mortals can't comprehend. Both possess the frame to bully smaller guards and the skill to humiliate unparalleled size. They both deliver passes that only a tiny fraction of players in history could even visualize, let alone execute. It's a great point. You guys are both wizard-level passers. One thing I admire is the delayed pass. Did you have that in your bag as a kid, or did it come later? You know, acting like the play is dead. And then whipping a 180 behind the back to a shooter. Where did that originate? I think that developed over time. I definitely wasn't pulling that off as a child. Everything looked idyllic, two Hall of Fame talents cracking the code together. They were constructing a juggernaut. 1 year deep, the Lakers are sitting 10 games above 500 with Doncic. Talk about a match made in heaven. we are watching something truly legendary take shape in Los Angeles. It has been exactly 1 year since this superstar partnership began, and the results speak for themselves. With Luka Doncic running the point, the Lakers are flying high at 10 games above 500. If you are loving this new era of purple and gold, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates. Putting up around 28 points and dishing out 8 dimes a night. On paper, this duo looks like a match made in heaven. But if you peel back the layers, ignore the flashy dunks, and the winning record for a second, you'll see the friction starting to build. And the root of that tension, it all circles back to Bronny James. Look, we all know LeBron, and Bronny shattered the record books as the first father-son tandem to share an NBA floor. That historic moment happened in the preseason on October 8th, 2024, followed by the regular season debut on October 22nd against Minnesota. It was the ultimate fantasy for LeBron, something he had been manifesting for a decade. However, the actual basketball side of things for Bronny has been a grind. His rookie campaign was rough. He suited up for only 27 contests, scraping together averages of 2.3 points, 0.7 boards, and 0.8 assists in roughly 6.7 minutes, shooting a dismal 31.3%. Fast forward to year 2, and the needle hasn't moved, with his scoring stuck around 1.9 to 2 points in garbage time minutes. And folks, before we get to the drama, make sure you smash that like button if you love NBA deep dives. Now, here is where it gets spicy, because Luka Doncic is not just a star, he is a perfectionist. He operates at an MVP frequency, and when he collapses a defense to gift wrap an open shot for a teammate, he demands they take it. That brings us to a pivotal game in November 2025 against the Bucks. LeBron was resting, which put Bronny in the spotlight, and Luka's patience finally ran out. Here is the breakdown. Bronny got the start, Luka attacks the rim, pulls the double team, and whips a laser to Bronny, parked wide open in the corner. We are talking practice gym open, nobody within 5 feet. But Bronny froze. He didn't pull the trigger. Instead, he put the ball on the floor and deferred to a teammate. Luka threw his hands up, clearly annoyed. Then, believe it or not, it happened again on the very next play. Luka engineers another wide open look for the youngster, and again, Bronny passes up the shot. Head coach Jay Redick was even picked up on the mic screaming, "Bronny, you gotta shoot the ball!" That reaction speaks volumes about the internal frustration regarding Bronny's lack of confidence. Luka drives deep, kicks to the corner, and nothing. It was painful to watch. But we have to ask, was Luka showing up his teammate, or was this just a generational talent tired of seeing golden opportunities wasted? If you want my take, subscribe to the channel right now for more truth bombs. Most hoop heads would agree it's the latter. This happens in gyms everywhere. You do the hard work, you create the advantage, and your guy has to finish. That's basketball 1-to-1. But because we are dealing with the king's heir and Luka Doncic, the guy taking over the keys to the city, every glare and eye roll becomes a headline. But wait, it gets deeper. The on-court friction is just one piece of the puzzle. The Bucks incident wasn't an isolated event. It was the boiling point of a simmer that started months earlier. And in this chapter of the saga, the heat was on the James family, not Luka. Back in August 2025, the Lakers called a massive presser. The occasion, Luka Doncic signing a monster 3-year, $165 million extension. This wasn't just a contract. This was the Lakers formally announcing that this is Luka's team now. The entire squad came out to show love. Well, almost everyone. Conspicuously absent were LeBron and Bronny James. Reports surfaced that the King was out golfing on vacation. Sure, he sent a nice video message, but in the NBA, presence is power, and their empty seats screamed volumes. The media backlash was instant. Dan Patrick went on air and absolutely roasted Bronny James. He made the point that as the 15th man on the roster, a guy fighting for his NBA survival once his dad hangs it up, Bronny had zero business missing that event. Patrick argued that Bronny should have pushed his dad to cut the golf trip short. Because when you are at the bottom of the pecking order and the franchise commits $165 million to the guy who will carry you for the next 10 years, you show up. No excuses. This moment highlighted a weird power struggle brewing in Los Angeles. LeBron has been the sun the Lakers orbit around for years. He brought AD to town. He delivered the 2020 ring, but with Luka in the fold, the tectonic plates are shifting. We are watching a regime change in real time and determining the alpha dog in a locker room, deciding who holds the gavel is never a walk in the park. Insider Shams Charania highlighted that King James was stepping into uncharted territory with Luka poised as the new face of the organization, and that balancing this power struggle would demand a delicate touch from everyone on the payroll. Before we dive deeper, make sure to hit that like button. Now, publicly, LeBron has played the role of the diplomat perfectly. He says all the right things about handing the keys to Luka and letting him be the main guy, but there have been slip-ups that make you scratch your head. Remember that viral soundbite where LeBron said, "It is Luka's team when I hand it over to him"? On paper, it sounds supportive, but if you read between the lines, the subtext is heavy. Then you had the rumors about LeBron's offseason movements, sending mixed messages. We saw workouts at former training grounds and heard cryptic chatter about European competition, which many took as a sign that he was hesitant to completely vacate the spotlight. And we cannot ignore the Stephen A. Smith drama. While Luka was not the target there, that situation is the missing puzzle piece regarding the tension around Bronny's roster spot. Back in March 2025, LeBron actually got physical with ESPN's Stephen A. Smith right on the sideline after a Lakers matchup, all because of Smith's hot takes regarding Bronny's readiness for the pros. Smith had been tearing into Bronny's journey, arguing he needed more G League seasoning and implying that LeBron's power was the sole reason the kid had a jersey. LeBron marched up to the analyst and reportedly warned him, "Stop messing with my son." Smith later recounted the incident, noting that he was not looking at a basketball legend in that moment. He was looking at a parent, he was looking at a dad. That interaction unveiled a massive truth about LeBron James. When Bronny is the topic, all logic goes out the window. LeBron is a father first and an NBA icon second. That protective dad mode, while totally relatable on a human level, manufactures a wildly complex atmosphere when your son is your coworker and your other running mate is a 26-year-old superstar who is rightfully going to get annoyed when the rookie hesitates to pull the trigger. But listen, here is the angle that the media ignores. For every awkward, tension-filled minute, there are genuine sparks of brotherhood between this trio. We have seen the footage of LeBron trapping Luka in a playful headlock mid-game. Luka initially looked ready to throw hands before realizing it was his teammate and cracking a massive grin. If you love these behind-the-scenes insights, don't forget to subscribe. There is also that leaked audio of LeBron and Luka teaming up to trash talk an opponent, Quentin Post, with Luka roasting him, and LeBron backing up the play by calling the guy a bum. That is not the body language of enemies. That is two ballers bonding and building chemistry. Shifting focus to Bronny, we saw a really wholesome sequence during the Wizards matchup where the rookie snagged a steal and hammered home a dunk. Both LeBron and Luka jumped up, beaming with genuine hype and pride from the sideline. You also had that preseason clip where Luka saw Bronny walking his way and jokingly pivoted to walk the opposite direction, only for both of them to burst out laughing. That is just guys being dudes. That is locker room banter. Looking at the macro view, a year after the blockbuster trade, the question isn't if LeBron and Luka can mesh. They obviously can. The Lakers are stacking up wins, and Luka is flourishing next to the greatest to ever lace them up. The real elephant in the room is what goes down when LeBron finally hangs up the sneakers. Because when that clock hits zero, Bronny's job security becomes shaky at best. Without his dad's gravity, without that shield, Bronny will have to prove he deserves a seat at the table strictly on his own game. And averaging roughly 2 points a night in garbage time, that is going to be a tough case to plead to the front office. LeBron has practically admitted this in his own way. When pressed about his retirement timeline, he clarified that the choice involves himself, his wife, and his daughter. His teammates do not get a vote. Listen to how he broke it down. As far as how long I have left in my career, zero clue. The drive to play alongside him every night, that is super motivating. That is what I train my body for. Every night I go out there, I try to be the best player I can for him, and we bounce that energy off each other. But regarding me weighing in on him or my other teammates concerning my retirement timeline, no. That is literally my decision along with my wife. Two of my boys are already out of the nest. One is somewhere around here, and Bryce is down in Tucson, so he is out of the house too. So the final call comes down to me, my wife, and my daughter. That is just the reality. Most of my sons have flown the coop. Well, one is still hanging around the area, sure. But Bryce, he is currently down in Tucson, meaning he is officially out of the house. So the final call really rests with the remaining trio. Myself, my wife, and my daughter. It is not going to be some locker room debate with the squad. Not happening. That is King James keeping it 100% real. If you appreciate that kind of transparency, make sure to hit that like button. Luka is the driving force for him right now. Getting to run the floor with a superstar of that caliber during his twilight years is a blessing. Yet at the end of the day, family comes first. When LeBron finally decides to hang up his sneakers, whenever that time comes, the Los Angeles Lakers will be handed over entirely to Luka Doncic. On the flip side, things in Dallas have been an absolute train wreck. It was a total catastrophe. General manager Nico Harrison got the axe, and the gamble on Anthony Davis backfired. He managed just 31 games before getting shipped off to the Washington Wizards. The assets they got for trading Luka have become basically worthless. The only tiny ray of hope for the Mavericks faithful is that bottoming out secured them the first overall draft pick and Cooper Flagg, who is currently shattering rookie records left and right. But let's be real. Ask any Dallas supporter if they would swap that potential to get prime Luka back, and you know they would take that deal in a heartbeat. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap one of the videos appearing on your screen right now to keep up with the latest basketball drama